Hey guys, Mike here. So, boy, what another day in the market, and like we said yesterday at the end of the video, pump them up for CPI and dump them down for PPI, baby. And again, what happened? We'll talk about it. The freaking PPI came in higher than expected, unemployment came in higher than expected, but wait a minute, Mike, CPI came in higher than expected. It didn't matter. Remember, they used the move they want to move it. They moved to all-time highs, and now they're coming back down and getting that liquidity, baby. And that's what they did today, especially, again, I'm not going to beat a dead horse, but IWM, small caps, always take the brunt. When you see hot anything like that, hot CPI, hot PPI, that 10 years is going to spike, and that thing is on steroids right now, and it crushed it. And so we're going to look into that. I'll show you something I gave members and stuff to look at because everybody wants to be a hero and like jump on and go, they're going to pop. Well, let me just show you something to wait on. Sure, they can move, but let me just show you what to look at and go, let me check these three boxes, and yes, IWM would move higher. If those aren't checked, odds are against you, okay? Odds are very much against you. I'm going to show you a chart, though, and we're going to get into all that fun stuff. And also an alert I just got right before I record this video, so I went ahead and put it in here for you guys. Something I've been waiting on for a while, just told members about, and a lot of people are going to be on watch now for sure, okay, that just happened. But let me start off with this chart, and then we'll also get into Tom Lee's prediction for 2025, oh boy. But this chart is amazing. I mean, you want to talk about why bears and short sellers have been roadkill? Look at this. Investors rush into U.S. equities. Look at that freaking spike, 140 billion. That's 2021 right there. That was the biggest one. This is double that. Look at that. Yes, that's why you're seeing this crazy move. You want to call it crazy, this parabolic, whatever you want to call it, right? Just rushing in, okay? And here's what Tom Lee has to say, and then we'll get into all the rest of that stuff about 2025. Pay close attention.
So your outlook to me is interesting, the way you sort of game out where the S&P can go. Because you say we're going to 7,000 by mid-year, which sounds amazing because most targets that I've seen are 7,000 at the top end for the entire year. Your full year forecast, though, is 6,600. Why?
Part of it's cyclical. We're coming off two back-to-back 20% years, and there are 5 precedents to look at. 5 of the 5 precedents since 1880 had a weaker second half. So I'd say that's the base case. The reason I think markets do better in the first half is that there is going to be a lot of enthusiasm about a new White House, some of the headlines that come, whether it's deregulation, etc. And we know there's still a ton of cash and a lot of low leverage on the sidelines. That's why stocks can rally. And by the way, 11% in a few months, we've seen that routinely the last couple of years. But in the second half, I think markets start to worry about the larger macro risks like the Middle East, the potential risks of tariff and executing that, and potentially the fact that Doge could be so successful that it could slow the economy.
And so that is interesting because that's going to tie in to what I'm going to show you in this video about that alert I just got. So do not miss that alert. It finally happened. It's been taking forever to get that alert, okay? Now, what I told members, here you go. If you're the small caps IWM person, I put this in here. I will say this about IWM. The 10-year yield is on steroids right now and breaking through every trend line and resistance line I put on it 4 days ago. If you look at the last 4 breakouts for IWM, they all have 3 things in common. I'm not going to continue to read this because I'm going to show you in person. I'm going to bring up this chart right here for you. And if you look, what do you see? You see a downward trend line. You see them coming into what? A discount. Okay, it's either coming to the 0.5 fib, golden pocket, or 0.79 fib. I'll go over that more in Saturday's video. Then you see the breakout above, okay? Usually 4 to 5 day rally, right? Then we're coming back down. There's the trend line getting formed. So rejecting. Comes down to 0.5 fib on this one. Also an ascending trend line for support. Boom, boom, boom. 4 day rally up. Sell back down. Here's the trend line. Here we come back down into a discount. This time it hits the 0.79 fib. Came right below that trend line. That's great or whatever. And then we break out. And this one's a huge gap up right here. So you got 1, 2, that's actually a red day, 3, 4, basically a 4 day rally. You can call it 5, you include the red one. And then major sell down, same thing. Comes into a discount, golden pocket, breaks the trend line, boom, boom, boom. This one's on steroids, gaps up 3 times for a 4 day rally. And then we've been selling down ever since, right? So what are we at? The 0.5 fib, still got the golden pocket, 0.79 below with the trend line. So we are in a discount, no doubt about that. So that's the only one that's been met so far. 1, 2. What's the third one Mike's talking about? The third one I'm talking about is the 10-year yield. Okay, I told you how important this one is. I'll discuss that in Saturday's video. Somebody asked me about it. The 10-year yield. Look at this. Here's what happens. Remember, they don't always go in unison. I'm going to show you why, okay? If you look at this right here, you see it went up, 10 years going down. 10 years started going down, IWM went down. I'll show you why in just a second on that one. 10 years actually slightly going up to sideways. We get the rally in IWM. 10 years spikes like crazy. We get a big move down like this right here, okay? Remember, when it comes to the 10-year, it's really the velocity, the speed, the whatever you want to call it, of the move, okay? That is really the key to this thing. If it's just gradually just grinding a little bit, you can't really notice it, especially if it's going sideways, don't matter. But when you get this crazy move up, that's when it kind of freaks the IWM out, right? So then you look at this one. Here's your 4-day rally up. But what's happening? The 10-year is going up with it, right? The 10-year is going up with it. You see this, but what happened? The 10-year kept going up. And what IWM did, it went ahead and you had to change the diaper on it, right? Because it crapped the bed, okay? Now, 10-year starts going sideways. You get this huge gap up because something happened right there, by the way. And then, because that right there was the election. That was the election. Boom, pops up. 10-year starts heading down. Big spike up, 1, 2, 3 gaps. I mean, it really came down fast. And that's when you get this crazy move up, right? And then the 10-year started coming up. It's been on steroids ever since. And IWM has been selling down. That's your third. Okay, so you have to have the 10-year either go sideways, barely start moving up, really sideways, or if it takes a dump, then yes, that's your third thing. So your trend line, are you in a discount, or trend line break, discount, and the 10-year. Now, understand it's not just about the 10-year when it comes to IWM. When you look at this, this is the MAG 8. I'm including AVGO. You can see normally they go in unison, but what do you see here? This right here is one of the ways you can see rotation. I don't point this stuff out for my health. This is major rotation. We've seen what? Then push Meta to all-time highs, Google to all-time highs, Amazon to all-time highs, Apple to all-time highs. Microsoft is right there at it. Tesla to all-time highs. AVGO is doing earnings as we're speaking. I don't know what's going to happen. They spiked up, went to all-time highs. I don't know if it's going to sell off or not, okay? NVIDIA is not even in this yet, right? So, again, maybe it's not. Maybe they're just going to dump, keep semis where they're at. But you can see it only a couple times where this happens. See this right here? Major rotation. Major rotation. So if the MAG 7 or 8 is lagging, you can guarantee at some point in time they're just going to flood into it, right? I showed you all those weeks how many billions of dollars was going into large caps. How many? Where do you think a lot of the money was going? Right here, into those MAG 8s. Now, here's the 10-year, right? I put these trend lines on, I think it was Sunday's video. I put the resistance line on like yesterday, and we broke through both of them within 24 hours. And so it's like, well, that was fast. You know, so this is on a tear. When this is on a tear, small caps, high beta stuff gets put under pressure. All right, now, when you look at this, is it going to this trend line? I mean, I can't even say no at this point in time. Remember, we've had 3 rejections there so far. It doesn't have to. At some point in time, if this thing rolls over, that is good for IWM. It can, though. You can't count it out, right? And if you're a bond expert, let me know. What's the 10 you're trying to tell us, right? Because the Fed has no doubt they're going to cut. Honestly, I'll be stunned if they don't cut, by the way. But that's just the way it is. Because why? Bank of Canada's cutting. Bank of England's cutting. I'm sorry, Central Bank of Europe cut again, like a lot, I think. What else was Switzerland cut by 50 basis points? Surprised a lot of people. So everybody's cutting. Because why? The job market's holding up, but it's not the greatest, and they know that. And so they're having to pick and choose and say, which one are we going to do here? And so when you look at this, if it comes up here, you do not want to be in IWM or triple leverage ETS or IWM or anything like that, or calls. But then again, if it rolls over or just starts going sideways, then you can see that and just wait for that trend line to break. Wait for it to come to that trend line to break out, because who's getting into IWM for 1 day move? You saw the last 4 breakouts have been a minimum of 4. Sometimes 5, sometimes it can be more than that. And the reason why I show you that, which I know most channels do not, but the reason why I show you that, because one thing I learned this journey, and that's what this is for me for 4 years, a journey. Anything I've learned, I put on videos, I've shared with the members and all that fun stuff, is that the one thing I never had going for me was understanding the, let me see if I can get this word right, because I keep saying it wrong, intricacies of the market, right? What ties into what? Because I never looked at bonds. I wasn't a bond. I learned like you when I went to, get my 3 degrees and took finance class. They say, here's the bond, it has a yield, and blah, blah, blue, and diversify your portfolio, all that fun stuff. But I never understood the 10-year and the 2-year, the yields and how they affect, this over here. Maybe it affects this and how it affects mortgage rates, all that stuff. Never got it. So I started this channel, and then you guys would say stuff to me and send stuff to me, and the members would send stuff to me, and I'd do my own research, and then you go, oh, wow, this is how this stuff ties together. That's why this is selling down. That's why this is going up. All that fun stuff, okay? And so that's why I'm at least showing that to you, because I know somebody put in the comments said, thank God I saw your video last night because I got out of that triple leverage IWM ETF and saved my butt because it tanked today, right? So now they got out on a profit, I believe, and so versus having the loss right there. And so let's just see where it goes from here, okay? Now, looking at Tesla, I know the big question again is where are people buying at? Because it started coming down a little bit today after setting another all-time high. Here's what I'm gonna say, I'm gonna keep it easy. Anywhere 405 to I believe like 415-ish is where people are gonna be coming in at. Why? Because it's a discount. And if you look at the day and start pulling fibs in these things, that seems to be what they're doing. They're just looking at the discount range, buying in, and they run it up in after hours and pre-market, usually is what's been happening. Okay, and so again, that trend line right there, we'll see if it comes down to that. But that's just a guess because of what's been happening recently and what the trend has been. So we'll see. We'll see if that works out or not. Let me know what you're doing on that one. NVIDIA, we're going to keep it very simple. This one obviously still under pressure, but on a lower time frame, it is setting at least some higher lows, but not higher highs. And so, you know, right now, is the head and shoulders still playing out? Yes. The one thing I will tell you, because remember, I told you my mistake on Tesla. Normally, I always look at the extended trading hours. Why? Because you'll see moves that you won't see. See this right here? 133.73. 133.73. All right, but you go over here and you look at that and you go, no, it's only 134. Remember on Tesla, I told you my mistake was I didn't look at the extended chart and it came down and hit a major trend line. That I was saying, I'm waiting for this trend line right here. Well, it did hit it. It hit it in extended hours, like 6 in the morning. But I didn't, for some stupid reason, I did not look at that chart that morning. And so that was my mistake. I didn't realize until like 2 days later and I told you guys about it. So watch this, because if we sell down and we get to this neckline right here, and then all of a sudden you wake up and the market opens and it's already going up, but you go, wait a minute, it never even hit the neckline or anything, right? It never came down to this or came down to that. Well, it may have done it at night, right? Or in pre-market, okay? So just keep that in mind if we do come down to that area. I don't know what's going to go on with AVGO. I don't know if it's going to hold up or not, because right now I'm looking at it and guess what? It's coming back down to where it started. They ran it up from 177 to 192. Now it's coming back down to the previous all-time high. So we'll see, you know how they do with this stuff. The initial move is not the real move. If it does open up nicely tomorrow, it could pull everything up and start pulling these semis up. That's what we got to watch out for. So just make sure you're doing that on NVIDIA, okay? Now Celsius, just a couple stocks that when stuff's red, what's green. This one, all of a sudden, you're starting to see that MACD start to cross the zero line. The RSI is already over 50. This is the one that's just been beat down, hammered, and left for dead, all that good stuff. What you are seeing is a little structure start to form out. Here's the hourly, I believe. You can see that area right there. We've tested it twice. We've held it twice now. Now it's moving above that other right there, as I'll zoom out and show you. This other, which was resistance, has a turn into support. Okay, so let me zoom out here real quick, get rid of all of this mess. If it comes back down, which it has tested one time, and it can hold 31.13, right? That right there is a good thing. It's already filled that gap above it already. And so we'll see if they keep trying to push this one up. Obviously, it's beaten down. It's way down. Some people are going into calls on this one right here. Some people are going into leaps, all that fun stuff, because it isn't a huge discount. We've seen them do this repeatedly. I'm going to draw this trend line, and as long as it stays above this trend line, we'll see if it continues to grind up or not. But when that MACD does officially cross the zero line, I expect to move higher. Now, Square, if it was a person, I'd grab it by the shoulders and shake it, because this is one of those frustrating stocks out there, man. You think you're getting your breakout, it's going past 100. Nope. But clearly this thing is connected to Bitcoin, because you look right there. You can see it. Bitcoin goes up, Square goes up. Bitcoin goes down, Square goes down. And so, you know, we'll pull out on this one. Again, we were at 99 something. Thought we were finally going to hit 100. No. But 91.28 absolutely has the hold, right? If this thing continues to go down. So understand, I'm telling you this because if Bitcoin does come down, and we know it can because it's done over the last week here, up and down, then Square is most likely coming right down with it. It's going to be crazy if you see this thing enter back in that stage 1 area again. That would be just nuts. I am going to draw this trend line. Anytime I look at a chart and I see where I can get 3 touches right here, then I'm like, okay, let me see what happens if it does move up and touch this trend line. Do we get a rejection? That's going to be somewhere in the neighborhood around 102, but we got to break 100 first. But let's see what happens on that one. Now, here's what I was telling you about. The 10-year, 3-month. I got this alert that it hit the little line, all right, which is the zero line, starts to uninvert. We'll see if this carries out, because you see right to the left, it got rejected on that one. We did not uninvert. Remember, the 10-year, 2-year is uninverted. So normally, not to be scared, I'm just telling you now, when this uninverts, those shaded areas are recessions. When you have both of them uninverted, it can take weeks, months, okay? But anytime you see it get inverted and then it uninverts, There's usually a recession. Things start to break, okay? And I'm not an expert in the bond market. Some of you guys are. So you can explain that better than me. But this is when things start to get iffy. And I already did an update on the bond market. Right now, it's not showing any stress. So I'm just making you aware of that, which kind of leads into what? This is part of the 10-year, right? Going nuts. And so just keep that in mind. So anyway, hope you guys got something out of it. Please hit the like and subscribe button if you did. Appreciate all the questions. I'll get to them Saturday for you. There's some really good ones in there. Think about signing up for the membership if you like private videos, a Discord, and the morning news brief. And I'll end up seeing you guys on Saturday. Have a great one.